I sort of think that most people will vote Remain if they do it again.
No, all the polls suggest people haven't changed their minds at all.
OK.
Everyone in here, if you had your time again, who would vote differently?
Well, what's that going to tell us? 50% put their hands up. Well, that's conclusive.
No, what that tells us is absolutely pointless to have a second referendum, because for anyone to vote any different, they would have to admit they got it wrong the first time round. No one's going to do that.
No, people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All that talk about, oh, if there's a second referendum, there will be 80-20 in favour of Remain. Not on your Nelly. No chance. It will be exactly the same outcome. Because, say you weren't happy with the level of immigration 2 years ago, you're not going to be happy about it now.
No.
So if you thought 2 years ago the country was run by unelected European Union bureaucrats, well, nothing over the past 2 years would have changed your opinion on that. Well, and if you were daft enough to fall for that 350 million quid a week for the NHS law, you're daft enough to fall for something else next time round.
There's a poll this week apparently saying that 60% of people want the government to get on with Brexit.
Well, according to a company called Delta Poll, 60% of voters polled agree with the statement, "I no longer care how or when we leave the EU, I just want it all over and done with."
Sort of dignitas, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
When's the appointment?
Yeah.
What is this order? What do you want? Do you want it over with, or do you want it fought out?
Open the box! Take the money!
Just glad to see divided Britain in action.
That was a second referendum.
That was it.
You know, when he says stuff, it doesn't have to be practical, it doesn't have to be true, because he's a liar. He's a liar and he's a racist. He's a friend of Piers Morgan's. There's...
No, come on, no.
There he is. Piers Morgan said he was.
No, Andy, no. Piers has got no friends, you know that.
Well, let's look at how his ban would work in practice. It's quite simple, actually. Trump explained what border guards would say when faced with travellers trying to enter the country. They would say, "Are you Muslim?" And if the answer is yes, they wouldn't be allowed into the country. It's a very workable way of doing it. So I think in answer to your question, who would be allowed into the country under his system, it's anyone.
He's getting the backwash now, even from places like Dubai, where lots of investments, they don't want his name attached to it, they're pulling out. They're not actually... Trump trinkets sold big in the Middle East. Trump toothpaste, Trump toothbrushes.
Really?
Yeah.
Trump toothbrushes?
Well, I'm making Trump toothbrushes.
All right, because you wouldn't want anything to do with him in your mouth. And how did Britain first get involved in Trump's recent remarks?
He said that London was...
no-go areas.
London was a no-go area.
For certain police officers.
Yes, he said...
yes, there's certain places in London police are scared for their lives. Sports Direct. Going there.
Yes, he bolstered...
Are you one of their regular customers?
Yeah. That's where I get my trainers.
Do they still do the ones with the buckles?
They do. Look at the top pledge on the top. We will invade Iraq against the wishes of the people of Britain.
Yeah, but it was Miliband who stopped the invasion into Syria. That's something for him, isn't it? I haven't heard you say much about that.
No, because I'm more interested in the previous one, which you were involved in.
And we made it clear that's so. We made a mistake. There's no doubt about that. But give Miliband the credit for stopping us doing the same thing with Syria.
Okay,
because Cameron was about to get to do it with the Americans.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with that. And Obama
You just don't
took
work
the hint.
about it or talk about it. Anyway, that's the difference between us.
Yeah.
Should we start again?
But you say
I don't think so.
that the manifesto will only just come out, so the candidate can't be expected to know what's in it. Is the manifesto meant to be a massive surprise to Labour candidates?
No, but when you get... Well, in our party, you have to get it through the National Executive and we have a policy making for the manifesto. You don't know necessarily what's coming through. I think some great things have come through, particularly when we're dealing with the Leveson report and what are we going to do about making the press more accountable.
Yes,
That's quite important.
You're going to legislate, aren't you?
What we said about that, we will carry out what Leveson said. We wait to see the press...
Leveson said nothing about a royal charter. He didn't mention it.
I would have thought you as a journalist might find that's an important point.
No, as a journalist, it's an unimportant point.
God blimey, you're blimey. In private eye, you're sued every day, for God's sake, for what you say about people.
No, we're not. And certainly not about you. I know you've got problems with the press and your private life, John.
I think the last time you raised it, you got the same move. Why don't you be more specific and say it? Usually straightforward in private eye. What's your complaint?
OK, you're very, very unhappy about the press's intrusion into your private life, because they revealed you were
never
having an affair
complained
with
about
Tracy
it at
Temple.
all.
And it was very embarrassing for you.
No, it wasn't.
God, it wasn't embarrassing.
No, I made a mistake. I owned up to it publicly, and I was waiting for this one to come from you.
You didn't own up to it publicly. You were revealed as doing it.
Hey,
I've got an idea.
I did it at the Labour conference. Didn't you watch that?
You two find a room, and whoever comes out alive is the winner.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
That's a death stare. He gave me a death stare. It depends who's ordering the room service, I suppose, doesn't it, John?
This is like a terrible family Christmas.
Ritual is so... I mean, what are the benefits of joining this club? I mean, what do you get? 10% off sports equipment? I mean, what's the great club that you have to stick your cock in a dead pig's mouth to become a member?
Ian, you used to be a member, didn't you?
There's a hesitation.
No, I wasn't a member. It says I was a member on Wikipedia.
No, that's what they all say.
Yeah, which is quite embarrassing, given I spent half the week with tabloid journalists ringing me up saying, have you
placed your chap
Clarkson in a receptacle? Anyway, no, I was not a member of the Piers Gaveston Society. I was a member of the Piers Morgans.
I won't ask what the ritual was to get into that club.
Did you know people who were, though? Is that the sort of thing they did?
Yeah, no. I mean, they
yes,
threw...
yes, no. Your final 2 words on the subject. Yes, no.
He asked me 2 questions. He said, did you know people who were there?
Yes.
And then he asked another question. So I said, yes, I did know people. Yes. No, I didn't, which is sort of my answer.
Yes.
I thought I was the one that was going to get a hard time tonight, and it turns out Ian is. Right, yes. This is...
Is that it? We're going to just leave it alone? Lord Ashcroft getting this amazing story into the public domain via the Daily Mail.
I don't think it's even a story. It's a fantasy.
It's an act of amazing revenge by the Mail in cohorts with Lord Ashcroft, which the whole country has decided to believe. Usually a story in the Daily Mail, peddled by a non-dom Tory peer who gave 8 million quid to the Tory party and is in a strop because he wasn't made Defence Secretary, would be laughed out of court. Well, it's not in court yet, but I was hoping it might. But no, we've all taken this seriously, and there's the grinning Lord Ashcroft, who, I mean, you know, if you want to talk about members inserted into, you know, the House of Lords, there he is. I mean, it's a disgraceful story. This man, Lord Ashcroft, who gave the Tories all this money, thought he could get himself into the cabinet, thought he could buy himself a cabinet post. And everybody's gone along with this, saying, oh, great, Lord Ashcroft. I mean, he's a non-dom. If we're doing prick jokes, let's have a condom joke. And if you want something disgusting the Prime Minister's done, I mean, you know, there's loads of it. Bedroom tax would be a good start. There's plenty of these things, and everyone goes around saying, oh, it's about a pig when he was 20. Well, how about being really appalling when he was 50? Right.
Now, David Cameron and President Obama exchanged gifts. This is what Obama gave Cameron.
A custom-made Shinola men's watch engraved with the presidential seal. A bison leather duffel bag monogram with the Prime Minister's initials. 3 cans of US Open tennis balls. And a pair of sports towels personalised with the UK-US friendship flags, whatever they are.
Sports towels?
It's an unsubtle message, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's get exercising, fatty.
Yeah.
This is what David Cameron gave him.
A volume of the complete works of Shakespeare. Oh, that's it.
On the first official day of the campaign, what did each of the politicians do?
Just wanted to do that.
Cameron went to Buckingham Palace to ask for Parliament to officially be dissolved.
Did Miliband go to the palace as well?
No, he gave a speech
Paid his £8 and had a look around the picture.
Miliband gave a speech to business leaders, while Nick Clegg actually went to a hedgehog sanctuary.
Of course, yeah.
Something that he soon regretted.
Really poorly. She got maggots in every orifice.
So she could no longer look after the hedgehog.
I like these animals.
I do.
I'm just saying, why do the Liberals choose a hedgehog? And even Mrs Thatcher, do you remember she grabbed a cow?
Yeah.
And did Miliband have an animal? Did he not join in?
I haven't got one.
I would have liked him seen with a massive tarantula on his face. Farage didn't do an animal thing, did he?
Not that I know of, but...
He met up with Joey Essex, which was similar. Maybe he thinks Joey Essex is a baby kangaroo.
But anyway, this is the Labour conference. It didn't go as badly as everyone hoped. And in the end, Corbyn was not very good.
I have to say, I like him. I think as a person, I do. I like him as a person. I think if he was on Bake Off, which is how I judge these things. First couple of weeks, you think, oh, I'm not sure about the Grumpy, I'm not sure about Jeremy. Then you just go, oh, I love that. Wasn't it lovely when Elaine dropped that flan and Jeremy picked it up? I think if he was on Bake Off and Cameron was on Bake Off, he would win the next election. I don't know if that's how they're doing but if they do...
That's certainly news that the election's decided by Bake Off now.
Ian, it's the new politics.
You're absolutely right. Of course, it is the first conference for Corbyn as leader, and obviously it was slightly derailed at the end by this nuclear business.
Tell me about Trident. I understand the reason why we had Trident immediately after this, the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Why have we still got this? Why have we got this submarine? What is it protecting us from?
Originally it was...
Is it attacks on the underground?
No, no attacks on buildings. It was there originally to protect us against the Russians during the Cold War. And
but that sort of war's moved on now, isn't it?
Yeah, but one of the things about this week is it just reminds you that the Russians are still there.
Yeah, but I've got a box of hay under my bed that keeps the elephants away. It's the same thing with Trident. It's really difficult to prove that it's sort of doing what it's meant to have done.
It is very difficult to prove. I mean,
because my box of hay doesn't cost 120 billion quid, you see. Well, it does keep the elephants away.
No elephants.
No elephants. Have we got on question time?
CBeebies, I think.
Also, he was asked a straight question and he gave a genuine answer. They asked a question, which they always do for politicians. We'll ask him a question that's impossible to answer. So, would you ever press the nuclear button? If you say no, then you have this reaction. If you say yes, you say, well, you've always said you wouldn't do. So he can't answer it. So what does he do? He actually told the truth.
Yeah.
And no one's done that for a long time.
Definitely question time.
Whether he is right or wrong, I think that's quite a refreshing way to deal with it.
I think the problem was that he then changed his mind afterwards, which is not great if you've got your finger hovering above the nuclear button, to be fair.
I had a bit of sympathy when he said he'd never press that button under any circumstances, because I'm the same with the ITV2 button on my remote.
What is ITV2?
You will find out soon enough, Jeremy.
I've never watched an election a U.S. election unfold overnight from London, from watching the BBC overnight. And that's the way, if you want to watch America go down the dumper, watch it through the befuddled nocturnal fog of a man named Andrew Neil. Watching a man, he's just barely on top of everything. And he just sits there, and he had other people beside him. He looks like he's squeezed in like this. And then when they're not there, he still looks like he's squeezed in. Like his body's trying to eject itself. And he comes out, and he's trying to explain the Electoral College, and nobody quite gets it, because it's impossible to explain. And somebody's got to get it 270. And now you're watching his scoreboard at a bowling alley. And then finally they give up, and they just bring out this guy who just dances on a map. He just... He dances on a map, and he's trying to show all the states with his feet. He's going like, oh, there's Wisconsin, and there's Ohio, and oh, there's a red state turning blue. Oh, I mean, Christ, Trump is becoming president, and the guy's playing Twister. And then finally, you know, there's just at the top of Andrew Neil's head, spray on thatch thing, and comes back up at 6:30 and says, Trump's president, and great, Trump's president, I'm watching an acorn talk to me.
The longest TV review I've ever heard. The beauty contest, there were 3 contenders to be the next leader, and 2 of them had got the message that you've got to be nice this year, and no one had told Theresa. So she did full-on nasty. And everyone looked around saying, oh, really? I mean, traditionally, the Home Secretary at a Tory conference goes sort of mad and appeals to the audience and no one minds. But this year, they're all nice. They're like you. You have changed politics.
Thank you.
What I thought was amazing... What I thought was amazing about Theresa is she spent her speech ranting on about how there are too many immigrants in the country. You would never have thought she'd been Home Secretary for 5 years.
Yeah. You'd think if only there'd been someone in a position of power who could have stopped this happening. Oh, it's you.
She said she was not going to allow EU migrant quotas. Never in 1,000 years, is what she said, which is terrifying because that means she's planning to rule for a millennium. Why do you think she said it now about migrants?
People are saying she's going to position herself to say we need to come out of the EU to stop all these migrants coming in. Or they won't stop me and you because we're already here.
Bad luck, Theresa. I'm here taking up a white comedian's job right now.
Donald Trump is awarded the title of what 3 years in a row?
Cheesy what's it look-alike.
Caveffi of the Year.
It's actually Super Senior Club Champion. A reporter this week tweeted the Champions Board at one of the Trump National Golf Clubs. Let's have a look.
Oh, well, that's not rigged, then.
Also this week, Vladimir Putin was interviewed by American news anchor Megyn Kelly, who said, off-camera and privately, he was warm, extremely polite and inquired after my family. No, Megyn, don't tell him about your family! Next, you should notify colleagues whenever you intend to what?
Oh, is this from the Members' Handbook, Alan?
Yeah, it's whenever you're going to mention them in a speech. What about if you're going to use part of their speech and pass it off? That's only Amber Rudd who's ever been known to do that.
He's so hurt.
Yeah, actually, the correct wording is when you're going to refer to them in the chamber. The guide also gives a list of catering outlets and bars where you can enjoy breakfast, a quick cuppa, informal lunch, table service lunch, snacking, afternoon teas, informal dinner, table service dinner and drinks. What? No 11s?
What landmark moment in Trump's presidency did the trip signify?
He was about to be impeached. So he thought if he went abroad, he could make more of a fool of himself than at home. I mean, it is extraordinary. He said about the Saudis that they threw people off buildings and had an appalling attitude to women during the campaign. Then he got there and said, this is a magnificent kingdom. I mean, he contradicts himself almost mid-sentence nowadays. He can't keep it up. Yeah. And he criticised Obama for bowing to the Saudis. Yeah, and then he himself curtsied. He does this sort of weird thing and then puts on the award of the great flogger of the Temple of Doom or whatever it is.
That was an ITV quiz show that never got past the pilot.
It is quite extraordinary. And having failed to point out that, you know, if you're going to Saudi Arabia to make a speech about where this appalling version of Islam comes from that preaches terrorism and extremism, where is it? Oh, it's here. Not a mention of it.
They were told at the official dinner he needed to have ketchup on standby. Do you want to know a fascinating fact about tomato ketchup?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to say that one again.
Yeah.
Do you want to know a fascinating fact about tomato ketchup?
Oh, yes.
Henning's auditioning for the Churchill dog ad.
Well, as soon as Brexit looming, I'm a lot more amenable to advertising.
Did you hear what he called you two?
Sickening capitalist lickspittles.
Pretty much. Sneering media commentariat.
I like the commentariat bit.
Yeah.
Just a Soviet hint there.
Why would he say that about you, Camilla?
I said that I was a little bit in love with him only 2 months ago, so I don't know why he would say that.
Well, I'll tell you the other things you've said about him is he is a turbo weirdo.
Correct.
A weaponised lentil. An extraordinary half-resuscitated goat.
Because the thing about her is she's very happy. She doesn't believe in Brexit. People thought, oh, maybe secretly she believed in Brexit, and so it's OK for her to lead a government that's
Maybe she's
doing
changed her
Brexit.
mind.
Or maybe she doesn't care what the government does. She just wants to be Prime Minister of it.
Ah.
So she'll do, you know...
Well, at least she's not like Jeremy in that sense, because he certainly doesn't want to be
You know,
maybe not.
They're the perfect opponents, aren't they? The person that will be Prime Minister of any government.
And the one who'll be Prime Minister of none.
Yeah, if Labour wins, she could say, Jeremy, don't worry, I'll be Prime Minister. I'll just do the Labour stuff. I didn't believe in Brexit. I did the Brexit stuff. I can do it all. I'm a session musician, politician.
Well, this is, of course, a continuing row about tax and personal wealth. And why are so many Conservative MPs just furious with David Cameron?
He published his tax return, and now they all feel they've got to pile in with their tax return. Soon we discover that Boris earned, I think it was £600 and something thousand a couple of years ago, and paid tax on it, so no story there. But that's kind of interesting. And now George Osborne has published his, and I think Jeremy Corbyn has had to publish his too.
The Tory MPs, I think they're probably sort of worried because it's set a precedent now, and so whoever's going to be the next leader sometime down the line after Cameron will also have to do this thing, and so they're sort of like, holding them hostages to fortune, I think is the
But isn't that
complaint.
why Boris did it? Because he thinks he's going to be the next leader.
Oh, yeah.
I think he partly did it just to show how much he earns.
He does seem to have an awful lot of jobs. Member of Parliament, Mayor of London, columnist in this and that.
Telegraph, writer of books. And he still finds time for all his extracurricular activities.
Allegedly.
No.
The sponsor...